January 2026 is done and in the books, so let's rank all of the movies and TV shows I watched this month. Coming in 5th place is His and Hers, and this is a new murder mystery that dropped on Netflix this month, and it was just kind of meh. Like, at the end of watching it, I was trying to figure out why I didn't like the show so much, and I think what it is all of our characters here are just so unlikable. So while watching it, it's really tough to figure out who you're rooting for. It just makes it where all of the characters are just terrible people and just really unlikable. Every character here makes terrible decisions, and it just makes it where it's just like, ugh. The final plot twist was pretty good, but I would say that the road to get there just wasn't really as satisfying as other murder mystery shows that we've gotten in the past. In 4th place, I'm gonna put Mercy, and this movie was definitely not as bad as people were saying it was. And I watched a few reviews of people that were just saying it was a terrible movie, and it was on the level of War of the Worlds, which we got last year. And that's just simply not the case. Now, that doesn't mean that it was a great movie or anything, but it definitely wasn't as bad as people were saying it was. Last time I checked, this one had like a 24% over on Rotten Tomatoes as far as the critics score, and it's just not that bad of a movie. And I feel like what it did really well was giving you this same style of story of this murder mystery, but giving you it in a different light, in a unique way. And it did a really good job of pacing and keeping you guessing about like what's going on and who did it. I will say halfway through the movie, I did figure out who did it. You might not know the exact reasons or anything, but that's because you don't really have that information to work with. But it is pretty straightforward in the story, and it is easy to kind of see where things are going. The third act too goes kind of bonkers, and I wasn't really a big fan of the third act and really kind of what they did with the AI. I do feel like this one would have played better as a streaming movie on Netflix or something, rather than being this big theatrically released movie that they were really promoting heavily to be in IMAX. In 3rd place, I'm going to put Wonder Man. This is not your typical MCU show. This is very much a romance friendship story between our Wonder Man and Trevor from Iron Man 3. It was very much a character-driven story about the struggles and sacrifices one has to make it in Hollywood. So there's not really much CGI here. There's not a lot fight sequences. This was a good show, but I don't know if it was a great MCU project, because the general audience, if they're going in expecting it to have that same Marvel style of action, you don't really get that. That's not what this is. But for me, I think it is one of the better MCU shows that we've gotten, and I hope they do a season 2 in the future. Coming in 2nd for me, I'm gonna put Primate here. And this movie was actually a lot of fun. I was just kind of going in with really low expectations, but leaving the movie, I was actually really satisfied with this one. It wasn't the best horror movie or anything like that. This is very much a Cujo style story, just with a monkey. You have a lot of the logical issues you have with these horror type movies, and the poor decision making and the trips over their own shadows. But I got what I wanted from this movie. I went in not expecting much, just wanted to see some fun carnage with a monkey, and that's what I got. The kills here are pretty brutal and crazy. There are a couple in particular that will make you grab your face and just be like, ow, oh, that hurts. Looking back on this, I might have Primate a little bit too high, but looking back on it, it was some of the most fun I had in the theater as of late, so I'm gonna put it up a little bit higher here. But coming in 1st place for me is Send Help. And this is Sam Raimi's newest movie, and it's very much in the vein of Stephen King's Misery, except you're on an island. We get some great performances here from Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. There are a couple scenes in this one that'll just make you laugh from being uncomfortable. There's also some gross out moments where I was laughing because I didn't really know how else to process So I was just laughing, just being like, what the heck is going on here? I do feel like this one kind of dipped in the middle where you are just kind of surviving on the island. You do have some really good character moments and development in there, but it does start to drag on just a little before you get to the back half where the climax is. But overall, I had a blast watching this movie, and it's one that I continually think back on, and I was just like, that was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna put it in the number one spot, and it is my favorite movie of 2026 so far, but that's because we're only in January. Let's see if February can give us something that tops it. But that's just my ranking. Be sure to let me know yours. There are a couple of movies that I didn't get around to going to see. I didn't get to see The Bone Temple, and I also didn't get to watch The Rip, which is a Netflix movie that released. And I'm sure there are some others that I missed along the way. If there's one that you saw in January you didn't get to see here that you think I should check out, be sure to let me know. And while you're down there, be sure to let me know which January movie was your favorite, and keep talking nerdy.